In this one, we're going to be creating a new little feature that should be added by default, as well as a slight bug fix to our solo map selection. So for example, when I click solo, as you can see, by default, there's nothing selected. And when I hover over them, that's when stuff, like it actually sets it. And then when I click back and click solo again, it duplicates. And it's going to keep duplicating no matter how many times we click it. So in order to fix that, we need a control variable. So for instance, when this button's clicked, what we want to do is we want to check if that variable is false, meaning we've already clicked the button. And if it is false, we run this here. If it is true, we skip it and do nothing other than set the index for our widget switcher. So what we're going to do is create a new variable, call this one solo map selected. That'll work. By false, I mean by true. Yeah, by default, we're going to leave it as false. I want to create a new category, call this one control variables, and put it under there. So let's move this stuff over here. We're going to do a get, branch it, and if solo map selected is false, we run this. So then at the end, we need to make sure we set it to true, indicating that we have in fact ran it. So let's give it a try. Solo, solo. Yep, it's no longer duplicating the maps. Now what we need to do is we need to actually set the index. So I'm going to break that off and just put it at the end somewhere. And if we look at our onHovered event, what we do is we get our parent, we get the current info that we have stored in the map. We call our set solo hovered map info, which is this function right here. And that takes care of it for us. So we just need to get what is currently being hovered. Well, not get what's currently being hovered. We're going to grab the first index of the map list. So let's go ahead and get the map list. Let's do isValidIndex at index 0 because we're going to by default select the first index. Going to do a branch. And if it's valid, we're going to actually set it. So I'm going to call this function here. And what we're going to be passing in, let's see, we're going to get a reference to index 0 and pass it. So we're actually going to set isMapSelected right there anyways, so that way we don't have to worry about this failing or succeeding. And let's see it, hopefully it should select the first index, which it has. Map 1, this is a test description for map 1, and it shows the image. And I can still scroll through. All right, map 2 works, map 1 works. All right, so we are good to go there. Let me just clean up the positioning just a smidge. And we are good to go. So what we did was we created a little control variable. Do I want to rename this section to, I guess, probably won't be a whole lot. Yeah, I'll just leave it as control variables. No, let's change it to info. Yeah, info. We're going to set map list in there as well. Host current map in there. And that's all. We're going to leave the other information that we actually set and control out here for public. Then eventually we'll set those to. All right, let's create a new one. Why not? Let's call this one widget. Widget info. Yeah, that'll work. And put the rest of it in it. Just to keep everything nice and categorized. We'll probably end up separating these out even farther in the future to have our our solo separated from our hosting, our multiplayer hosting and stuff like that. But for now, this will work. So what we've done is we created a quick control variable that we set to false by default. And if that variable is false, we want to go through and add all of the current maps that we have in our map list to our scroll box. I mean, no, not a scroll box, our vertical box that we have displayed here for our map list. And then select the first index of that map list, again, only if it's valid, just for safety reasons. So that way we have, by default, just a map selected. We're not looking at an empty map because, you know, we want to keep it nice and clean. Then after that's ran, we go ahead and set solo map selected to true. So that way none of this will fire again until we restart the game. Or actually load up the main menu because it's going to get taken down anyways. So that's all in this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one.